What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of days ago in the Chicago Bulls and Milwaukee Bucks watch along, there were a couple of guys asking me what type of changes you would make for the Chicago Bulls heading into obviously next season. At the end of the day, it's clear the Bulls are probably going to be a playing tournament team this season, and we have aspirations to do more, or at least that's what I'm hoping the Bulls have aspirations for. So what is that going to be? Well, I want to dissect it in two different ways. A direction where we can go younger, a direction where we can probably move and try to get different type of veterans in and change the style of play the Chicago Bulls may have. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see whether or not we can get the job done either way, but I'm going to try my best. It's just my opinions, it's the things that I'm thinking of at the moment, but by no means am I saying this is the way that we should go down. If the Bulls could do better, that's great. If anyone else could do better, that's great. But this is just what I'm thinking of on the top of my head. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about what type of changes do you think the Bulls will make. Now let's direct. First, actually, I want to discuss two things I would do for both situations. I would keep Lonzo Ball in both situations, and I would trade Zach LaVine in both situations. Why? Well, Lonzo Ball is going to be a hard guy to get rid of, unless we just pay him outright. But I don't think the Bulls are going to do that. If we're going younger, then he's going to be... There's no pressure on Lonzo Ball. He can still work his way back. He doesn't even have to return at the beginning of the season. He can just work and take his time. Whereas... if we are trying to compete, he could be a sneaky surprise if he does come back and executes anywhere near the same level that he could. So I'd at least wait until the trade deadline of next season before I would make a decision on keeping or losing Lonzo Ball permanently, if you know what I mean. So I'd keep Lonzo Ball in both situations, and I would trade Zach LaVine in both situations simply because Zach LaVine doesn't want to be here, and at the end of the day, I don't really want to keep a player around that refuses to, I guess, want to be here. He just doesn't want to be here, or that's according to his agent and stuff of that nature. Now let's directly turn our heads to the retooling situation. So we have a lot of veterans on this team, and there's a lot that we need to do. The first thing I want to say is we need to fire Billy Donovan. I don't think this is a, I think it's a very basic answer here, but I think our offense is just way too stagnant. And I feel like we need a coach that can come in and bring some motion to our offensive play. The Bulls are too stagnant. They all wait at the three-point line just hoping DeMar or Kobe or Ayo or whoever is the ball handler does something. And again, I understand there might be some patience in that, but whatever the case may be, I do not like our offensive sets. I think Billy Donovan can work well with a defensive team, and we do have a very elite defensive team from my understanding, but we just don't have good offense. And I think Billy Donovan needs to go so we can find a way to improve our offensive play as a collective unit. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is I would try to extend DeMar DeRozan on a cheaper contract. If DeMar DeRozan wants the same amount of money, then I think it is time to let him go and try to bring somebody else to the fray that could potentially work for the Bulls. Now you might be asking, what type of player are you looking for in that regard? And it's hard. Because I'll be honest, when I look at the free agents that the Chicago Bulls could bring in, I don't see anyone that's better than DeMar, first and foremost, that's realistic to get, or that will make that big of a difference that we jump from the 9th seed to the 4th seed, for example. It's going to take more than one move to do that. If I had to take a pick, though, I wouldn't mind Tobias Harris on this team. Now you might be saying, why the heck would you get rid of DeMar DeRozan for Tobias Harris? Well, DeMar DeRozan wants more money than what he's getting right now, then I would want to try and get Tobias Harris on a cheaper contract, because he's not going to get a max contract again. I think he's proven he's not worth that. You might be able to get him on an okay deal for the NBA standpoint next season with the salaries increasing and stuff of that nature. And he's a two-way player. I think he's a solid defensive player. He's very inconsistent from my understanding, but he can shoot the three ball a little bit better than DeMar DeRozan. And he's still a guy that can help impact winning in an NBA standpoint. So that's the first thing I think we should do. If you want to keep DeMar DeRozan, I'd love to see him get a cheaper contract so we can have more money to work around free agents and potentially signing some shooters. That could be one way we go down, but if we can't do that, and there's a good chance we won't do that because DeMar and the contract value that they're both seeking doesn't seem to line up at the moment. So if we don't get DeMar DeRozan back, I would like to pursue a Tobias Harris type player, a forward that can play two-way capabilities. He's an unrestricted free agent from my understanding. He won't be getting paid 28, 30 million a season, and he can help impact winning with the way this Bulls team currently plays. And it doesn't take away from guys like Coby White either. So that's the first thing I would do. Then we have to turn our heads to what we have to do with Zach LaVine. Well, look, there is a method to this madness here. I would trade Zach LaVine. Hopefully, if the Golden State Warriors are willing to do this, I would try to get Klay Thompson out of the Golden State Warriors. Officially, I believe he's benched at the moment. Some people will call him washed. But again, we're trying to have a second chance approach here. We're trying to revive someone's career. So getting a head coach that could bring some motion to the offense will help a guy like Klay Thompson. And Klay Thompson, even though he's not better than Zach LaVine, could be better implemented into a team compared to what Zach LaVine is. We don't necessarily need a ball handler, someone's going to bring the ball up and make all the big plays. You're hoping Coby White develops into a superstar type player, or even just a good type of player that could do that for you. But you could use someone that could run around screens and shoot the catch and shoots and get to positions that are very hard to stop. The motion in the offense makes it difficult. And if you have a couple of guys that could do that, hopefully Tobias Harris would be able to do that as well. Patrick Williams, I would hope, would develop into that type of fray as well. By the way, I would re-sign Patrick Williams if we could. And you know, all of a sudden you got players that are moving out there. You got Coby White that could probably dish the rock. Even Ayo could do the same thing. We're probably going to keep Caruso as well. So a couple of guys that could dish the rock. And again, you just get a little bit more motion. Klay Thompson may be able to do a little bit of a better job in Chicago. I understand it's a risk because he's not playing very well at the moment, but he seems to thrive in Chicago, just not with the Bulls. It's against us, so maybe he can have a revival with us as well. So those are the type of moves I'm looking at, in all honesty. It's risky. There's no guarantee that it works, but these are the changes I'm looking at if we're trying to retool the team. Getting guys like Tobias Harris in there, trying to trade for guys like Klay Thompson if we can. If we could do a little bit extra, that's great. And just try to focus on the team mainly that we have, you know, maybe without the DeMar DeRozan if the things don't go our way. And see what happens. Now let's turn to the retooling thing, the rebuilding things, going younger, because this is very easy. First and foremost, you don't re-sign DeMar DeRozan in the offseason. If you're going to let the young guys sink or swim, then you have to take the risk and hope that these guys can develop and still compete at a high level without a DeMar DeRozan type of player. He does add a lot, DeMar DeRozan, but you have to see if these guys are really worth building around. So I wouldn't really extend DeMar DeRozan. I would try to trade Nikola Vucevic to the Memphis Grizzlies. They need a center at the moment. They got rid of Steven Adams. Ja Morant and all the crew should be back next season. Vucevic would be a nice addition there. I would re-sign Patrick Williams. I think at the end of the day, he's going to be a guy that we're going to have to trust and lean on if we try to go younger. I would trade Alex Caruso and hopefully get those 2 first-round picks that we're seeking. Even if it's just 1 first-round pick, I would take it for Alex Caruso. At the end of the day, I don't think a young team is going to need a player of Alex Caruso's caliber, and I think Alex Caruso deserves to go on a competing team. With that pick, I hope we do draft well. And this is the problem with going with the younger, I guess, approach as well. Because a lot of people say AK doesn't draft well. And it hurts my feelings, because at the end of the day, as much as I agree with that, I also feel like, how many of these guys actually got opportunities to really shine for this Bulls team? Coby White's not an AK draft pick. Patrick Williams is used as the 3-and-D guy. Not really gotten any significant time as a main guy. We don't really know about Patrick Williams. I'd assume he was a bench player for the Bulls. We haven't really seen him shine. But I feel like there's still options there. Dalen Terry barely plays. Julian Phillips barely plays. Maybe we have drafted wrong, but maybe these guys deserve more of a chance. Again, the sink or swim approach. And that's kind of how the way I would keep it. I would trade Vucevic. I would not keep DeMar. Maybe we could go after a younger free agent if need be. But I don't necessarily know if any free agent would want to come to the Chicago Bulls if we just tear the whole thing down. I would use the draft picks to hopefully get high picks first and foremost, and maybe we could go and rebuild our future from there. And I would trade every veteran possible and let guys like Coby, Ayo, Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Onwenu Tim, and the entire crew sink or swim. If they swim, excellent. You have a young core to build around. If they swim, you have a young team to build around. If they sink, well, then you have draft picks there. You should have capital there now that you can help rebuild your franchise over, and that will be the longer term approach. So I guess that's my video today. Those are the changes I would make. Are they right? Are they wrong? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.